I would like to explain a possible thing that we can begin to consider when we're talking about it being both spiritual and tangibly explainable. Because I don't like for us, and it's not you I'm talking to now, I'm talking to all of us generally. I don't like for us to quickly dismiss things as it's a mystery and we can't explain it, because that makes us not dig deep to see things that we could possibly begin to influence by adopting some changes, right? So for instance, let me try and explain these two instances about the ladies in the family who don't get married or have marital issues, and also where anybody who gets married into this family begins to develop mental issues. For the first one, here is what I know. Last year we did generational curses, and yes, and the reason why I brought that topic when we did it, you weren't here, was because I had noticed something about a family that was like my family. I had noticed something. I traveled and I saw something because I spent time in a home with one of them, and so everything now made sense to me. So that night I didn't even sleep. I was crying because I realized that these are the missing pieces. And I was seeing that the children were now heading into the same thing again. So as soon as I got back, the first thing I did was to convene an episode of Generational Curses so that people can understand there are things that are happening, and if you take the time to do something about it and adopt some changes, you can stop this cycle that has been going on in this family.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, in a case of the women in this family not getting married at all, or getting married and having marital issues, there is something here. Those women are brought up in an environment in that family. Those girls are brought up in an environment where certain things are taught them, or they observe certain things. They imbibe certain values. So they have a certain outlook in life, or they have had some experiences in that family that colors the way that they see life, so that when they go out in the world, they are relating with people in a particular way. Maybe they don't know how to relate with people in the right way because they haven't learned it right from home. Or maybe they have certain values that were taught them by their environment. So when they go out in the world, that's what they're looking for. So they're looking for maybe the wrong things. So they're always running into problems because they just don't have the proper foundation. They don't have the proper attitude to life. And even when they get married, inside their marriages, they will display those things because they don't know how to do it right. Now, people in their village will be looking at them and saying, the first one is not married. The second one got married and got divorced. The third one got married and got divorced. The fourth one is not married. You know? So,
and these are factual
yes.
Evidence.
And then somebody will now say it's spiritual. There's a curse. Yes, it is spiritual in the sense that, you see, the truth is that what happens in the spirit is what manifests in the physical.
In the physical, that's correct.
And when we say what happens in the spirit, it is, let me just quickly say, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Because the way that your mind is functioning is what you are going to be acting out in the physical, in real life. So there's no way to separate those things. So until you know, 2 nights ago, I was talking with a lady who said, are there such men? Are there men who actually want a close relationship? And I was like, no, you can't. The fact that you're thinking like that is what is going to make.
How did you get to a place where you are wondering whether there are men?
Because of her experience.
Exactly.
Because yes.
Exactly.
So and that has now been sewn into her spirit. So now when she goes out in the world, She's not even going to.
Yes.
You're not expecting it. I say you're not expecting it, so you are now not going to get it, because even when you are having, if you have any man that is having a conversation with you, you already feel like you close that door already. You're not going to have the type of conversation that is going to encourage him, because you already believe.
Or you think he's pretending.
Because you already do not believe that there is such a man. So that therefore you are not going to get such a man. So it is your mind that we now have to reorientate.
Can I bring an example that deserves further investigation?
Okay.
Because it's a prominent family. The Kennedy family in America. Have you noticed how the Kennedys die?
Tell me, please.
JFK was assassinated. Another one was assassinated. Another one just went into a boat and got lost till today. Another one, strange things happen in the Kennedy family. It's become something that a lot of people, those of us in the church who have exposure in the spiritual world, are saying, but why? Somebody like me, I began to read their history. I heard that their father was doing what is just like doing drugs today. He was importing alcohol into America. He made his money from importing alcohol into America. As at that time, alcohol was a contraband in America.
Okay.
But he made a lot of money and began to send his children to Ivy League universities. And they became very influential. But the way they are dying is raising questions. Do you understand? So, is it not possible? I'm saying it is open for investigation. I am not presenting a conclusive position. Is it not possible that the way their wealth came, is it not possible that it is what is affecting the children? Bible says that the fathers have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge.
Well, of course, because this will be my own way of looking at it.
It requires further investigation because we can't conclude. It's something that is worthy of study.
We can't conclude yet. My own way of looking at it would be to look at other things that have happened in the family in addition to this. But this one may even play a role in the sense that wealth, that's why sometimes even the wealth that we acquire, you see, the wealth that we acquire, when the way that we treat it, the way that we use it is usually tied to the way that we get it. Because the attitude that you're going to have if you're doing something where you are hiding, for instance, is going to play out in the home. The way that you may teach, I may teach my children to be very careful because I know that I have enemies. So already I'm affecting the way that they move in the world. Right? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am hearing you very loud and clear.
So everything that we do always comes home to affect the next thing that we're going to do. So if I have a lifestyle where I am that kind of person who is a risk taker, I am going to, if I do a business where I am taking risks, if it's something of a criminal activity, it's going to impact on the people who are in my immediate surroundings, in my family, because they're going to see me doing certain things. They're going to learn those things. So they may end up being risk takers.
Let me bring it further down. Let me help this your point a little bit more. some of us noticed that there were prominent families we knew when we were young. Prominent families who were in occultic organizations, structures, secret, what they call secret societies, and all such things. And a lot of the fathers in such families were highly celebrated, much talked about, and all that. But as we grew older, we began to notice that a lot of, in fact, majority, let me not say all, of children that were born in these families end up being no do wells. Even when some of them struggle, they just don't become anything. Now, is it wrong to at least begin to point towards the fact that the spiritual condition in their homes, the secret society their father belongs to, the rooms that nobody could enter, the incantations or all those things that they do, end up having effects on the children? Again, scripture says the fathers have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge. What am I saying? I am bringing to the attention of people that the decisions we make, the choices we make, affect not just us, but the people around us.
Perfect.
And it affects the people around us and becomes an influence as they continue to live their lives.
It continues to impact their lives.
Continues to have impact in their lives.
Yes.
Now, what is the solution? I am saying that there is an intellectual level in the solution. There is also the spiritual level in the solution. Because if indeed the fathers ate sour grapes, we need to pay the price of putting an end to that influence. It only makes sense. We are not preaching Bible here, but we are discussing what we have observed about life and its effects.
What I would say as a person who is not a biblical, let me say a person who is not a church, I'm not a church personnel. What I would say is, for me,
we're avoiding church.
No, we're not. We're not, because for me, or rather, let me say, I'm speaking as a person who is not a church person, who's not a church personnel, but I know that the Bible actually everything is open there. The Bible actually tells us everything, right?
Yes, about life.
I am saying yes. So, and the way that I see it is that even if you are not a Christian, that Bible contains the laws of life. Yes, it contains raw information that every time that you use the information, or you disregard the information, you will come to find that it has already told you what will be the result of you doing this, right? So I can even venture to explain the one of the occultic people that you just talked about now, and the influence on their children's lives, without, let me just make it very tangible, without thinking of even something mysterious that people cannot explain. If I lived in a house where my father was, or my mother was, an occultic person, and they would come home at certain odd hours of the night, and there are rooms that I cannot enter, and they're just doing this. Let me not talk about the incantations of words. Let me just say, just the physical activity, the fact that I cannot enter certain rooms. As a child, I already know that there are secrets. When you know that there are secrets, what it means is that already distrust is built in my mind, that when I see a human being, I'll know that there may be aspects of that person that are being hidden. So when I'm relating with them, even the way that I'm relating with them will not be the way it should be, because I have suspicion in my mind. When I go to a house, if I meet someone, if I am friends with somebody, if I am marrying someone, if they are going to give me food or anything, or if they say something to me, I have a heightened level of suspicion. I am not operating as a regular person. So my relationships will not be normal. My relationships will not be regular. If I go to school, my relationships with my peers in school will not be normal, will not be regular. I can never be a regular person because there's always distrust and suspicion in my mind, right? And that begins to impact on me, because when your relationships aren't healthy, it's always going to impact on you. Then you become an unhappy person. Now that's going to now impact on your education, right? That's why maybe sometimes they will end up not being able to do well in school, because now they are focused on trying to impress people. Instead of me to now be focused on my education, I'm going to be focused on other things. Because my relationships aren't healthy, I am focused on things to make people admire me, to be impressed by me. So it's always going to show. Anything we sow, we are going to reap. You know, without making it look like I'm preaching, that's a very simple, basic understanding of how we set spiritual laws in motion. You know, so
Yes.
it's us at the end of the day.
There are families also. You begin to wonder. The first child dies in an accident, in a car crash. A second child dies in a plane crash. A third child dies in a helicopter crash. And these are prominent people. They have the money. They have all manner of exposures. Now, and you look closely, where are all these things coming from? And you hear that their father was XYZ in so fraternity. Why would we not accept that there is more to this thing than just meets the eye?
It's okay.
We're trying to avoid sounding churchy. That's just practical. Let's just think. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yes, you're making sense. Yeah. Okay. So if we will.
No, hold on. Let's now tie it together.
Yeah.
What we are saying is that relationships in marriage produce effects that the children of these marriages live with.
We'll have to live with.
And these children that live with this in it also affects their own children. It keeps going. It keeps going. Right? And we are saying that some are spiritual, some are physical. Third point we are making is that indeed some of these things can be dealt with so that this continuity can be broken at some point, and for people to be set free, either by counseling, by mentoring, by prayer, by knowing scripture, and seeing the result in your life after such encounters. That's what I believe we have said so far.
Yes. I would say, I don't know, I think that the general understanding of prayer is I will pray for something to happen. My understanding of prayer is that something is already in existence, and my prayer is talking about that thing that is in existence. That is my own understanding of prayer. I don't see, and that is like when I am repeating it and repeating it, then it becomes more of what I have accepted. Going back again to what I said to that lady, what you have accepted in your mind is what now plays out, because it affects the way that you go out and behave in the world. It's all going to come from the things that you've accepted in your mind, therefore the things that you are expecting, right? So that's the way that I see that. And yes, we've talked about the things that happen with children that are brought up and how that becomes a springboard for the rest of their lives, which is the reason why I say many times I see people talking about you have to forgive, they have to forgive, they must forgive. In the conversation that I had yesterday with the other panelists, I wanted us to narrow down on people need to stop telling people they have to forgive, because you have no idea what you are telling them to forgive. You think that you're telling them to forgive what happened, but what you don't know is that it is their whole life that has been upended. In order for them to forgive, there has to be a process. And where it starts from is understanding what happened and knowing that I shouldn't have been a victim of this, processing it with understanding why the parents did what they did. And even if you can't understand it, understand that something was wrong with the parents. And then that alone isn't, because no normal parent would subject their child to something that would destroy their life. So you have to understand that something was wrong with the parents' understanding of life. And a person cannot know what they don't know. And I am saying this as somebody who is not, I'm not advising people to take that because I just don't understand and I'm just telling them understand it this way. I am saying it as somebody who has experienced a background where I faced certain things, and my understanding eventually is that these things will not happen with a normal person. The only reason these things happened is because somebody, an adult, right, was unwell in their reasoning. So whatever caused it, you may or may not know. But starting from there, then you can release yourself so that you can take yourself away from those things that will bring ailments into your body, right? And then focus on the issues that you're now having as a result of what happened to you. Because of that, so you can identify, because sometimes some of us don't know ourselves, you can identify why I see life like this, why I take these decisions. Because if you don't know why you're doing those things, you will continue to do those things and continue to have challenges. So when you're going to talk to somebody, instead of talking about forgiveness, what you want to first do is empathize with them on what has happened, because you need to understand that many things have gone wrong in their lives because of what happened to them. So start from there and then see how you can help them. If you can help them through the process, then you can finally lead them to a place where they can begin to talk about forgiveness, right? Because what we really want is for people to be free. Is for people to be free. That's what we want. So that people are not sick in the mind and sick in the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I make a closing line too, because it sounded like this a closing line. Let me say, one, this platform is a mentoring platform where one can be provided with tools for proper healing of situations of life from people who have experiences in these things, from people who have studied it a bit more detailed, and who are able to lend a helping hand to pull somebody across or out of a certain pit of life. So feel free to come, feel free to be open to share, knowing that there is confidentiality, knowing that solutions are available.
We can't see your face. We can't see your face. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Knowing that solutions are available, knowing that your issues will be discussed in confidence, and knowing that you're also dealing with experienced people. It's not just quoting Bibles or recommending prayers at a distance, but walking you through the solutions. I think that's what we're trying to do. That's why we're making all this analysis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for that. So I will put I will put the link in the description box. You can tap on that link so that you can get in touch with us, so that you can begin to have mentoring and get onto healing. I will I will summarize this by saying that there are many aspects to this.
Yeah, many sides.
Yes, but your health is very important. I would wish that people will not continue to wallow in the pain and to go through this. There are so many opportunities that people are losing because of the mindset, that has already it has already set you back. You've already lost so much. There is no reason to continue to lose. There's no reason to continue to lose. Life has been given to us to live abundantly, yes, and to have joy and to have peace. Peace is the healing balm.
As a matter of fact, life is good.
Yes, life is good. And I want anybody who is under the experience of our voices here to be able to say life is good. To be able to say life is good and to mean it really. Not just to mouth it, to be experiencing it, because it's a lot of pain. Next time I will share from two other people's experiences. People living in pain and turmoil and always feeling like the person who is in this world and looking over the wall at everybody else living life while they have been separated for pain. So, and it just continues because already that is what has enveloped a person's mind and spirit. So it continues and continues and continues. Yeah. So thank you very much for this conversation, Bishop. And yeah. Right, so we will end this now. I wish you all peace and love and joy. All right.
Amen. Amen.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
I know that this conversation is a blessing to one or more lives out there. You cannot listen to this conversation and not see a way out of the tunnel in which you find yourself as a result of experiences that were thrust upon you. And as you heard, the conversation is giving the opportunity so that you can come in and begin to process what has happened to you and attain and get the way out of this tunnel. You are going to experience life in a different way, and you're going to be led by not only people who are interested in your well-being, but by people who have lived this life as well and know what it is like, because you have experienced so many pains out of that singular incident, unfortunate experience, and we know what it is. We know that it doesn't begin and end with what happened as you were growing up. We know that this follows through life and brings so many more challenges, and that makes a person's life much lower standard than it should be. And that is why this work is important. Now, if you know anyone who needs counseling, even if it is not you directly, do direct them here. We want to provide an opportunity for people to get the therapy sessions that they need in order to live whole and healthy. And I will leave you now. May peace be unto you, and love and joy be your inheritance.